How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a judge ordering Johnson & Johnson to pay $572 million due to their role in Oklahoma's opioid crisis. Now, there's a lot to quote-unquote unpack here, as the cool kids would say, but let's start from the very beginning. How did this even come about? How many lawsuits were there? What is the allegation of those that are bringing about the lawsuit? Now, I think there was about 2,000 different lawsuits before this one that has been ruled on by a judge. So it may have been a class action lawsuit. I'm not really sure about that, but we'll move on. You had local governments, hospitals, tribes in Oklahoma that all claim that Johnson & Johnson were promoting misleading information about opioids, deceptive marketing materials. They weren't allowing the state of Oklahoma and the people in it, of course, to understand the true extent of the addictive nature and the destructive nature of the drugs. They're saying Johnson & Johnson perpetuated the opioid crisis, which led to a lot of death, destruction, addiction, and more. Now, of course, Johnson & Johnson disagrees. They're saying that, hey, you can't blame us for that. You're making us be the scapegoat. It's not our fault, this, that, and the third. Now, personally, I'm kind of on the fence about this. I tend to lean more towards being in favor of Johnson & Johnson. One thing about this whole situation is that there's been no law broken. I mean, is it illegal to sell opioids as a legitimate manufacturer? You know, is it illegal to give a doctor opioids and have a doctor give the opioids to a patient if they get a prescription, if they've been diagnosed of a thing? Oh, you got bad back, you got your teeth taken out, whatever the case may be. Okay, here's a medication for that. If it's legal, it's legal. Now, I'm against drugs 100%. I'm probably the most anti-drug person you know. But I can't say that they're responsible because, I mean, it's legal. At the same time, if they're putting out misleading information, then that's a different story. As long as they're being transparent and honest about their drugs, then it's legal. So what's the problem? I would support things to reduce the amount of drugs that are out there illegally from Big Pharma, from the opioid manufacturers. I'd be in favor of that. But until that point, you can't say that they're liable for the opioid crisis because they're doing things that are legal. Either it's going to be legal or it's not. You can't say, yeah, it's legal, but you didn't do it right. The only way you'd be able to get them, in my humble opinion, would be from the misleading information, the misleading marketing material. That'd be the only way you get them, and that might be the case in this particular situation. If it's not the case, then I think the whole lawsuit is fraudulent, and it'll probably get thrown out. Of course, Johnson & Johnson will appeal this. The result of the case could shape other cases because, let's be clear, this has only been decided for Oklahoma, not any other states. It reminds me of the big tobacco lawsuit back in 1998. Now, this was a big lawsuit. And before I even get there, the $572 million is not really a whole lot of money. I think the markets expected it to be upwards of $2 billion, but it was not. The big tobacco case affected 46 states and the top 4 tobacco manufacturers, and their payout was $250 billion with a B, and they're still paying it out today. I think it was like a 25-year plan to pay the first like $206 billion. They're still paying that out today. Now, the big question would be, okay, you got $200 billion over here, $500 million over here. Where will the money go? You're able to win the lawsuit successfully if it goes through and it's not challenged successfully, and you're able to get the money. Where does it go? Does it go into the pockets of people that have been affected by it? Like, what happens? Well, since it's about the state of Oklahoma, it'll go to Oklahoma. Now, it'll be up to the Oklahoma government on how to spend the money appropriately. All right. In the case of the tobacco lawsuit settlement payout, states generally take that and put it as a slush fund for whatever they need. Infrastructure, you got a bad road or bridge that collapse or something like that. They're going to use that for that. Emergency funds to shore up a pitfall in the budget. That's pretty much what it's used for. A small percentage of that goes towards, addiction, recovery, prevention, and stuff like that. I predict it'll be the same case here. So although you may have been able to win some money right now from Big Pharma, What is it actually going to make a difference? How is the money going to be used? Will it be able to help the average everyday individual? And if there is no laws passed to restrict the level of opioids that are coming out from these big pharma individuals for these companies, then it doesn't even really matter. They'll pay that luxury tax to keep on doing business because, let's be clear, big pharma makes tons of money. I'm talking about tons, billions. Like, that's probably one of the biggest industries in the world, if not the biggest. Right up there with tech and oil, gas. Big pharma is right up there. So $500 million, I mean, how much is that really? And then if they're able to successfully overturn that, then they pay nothing. And either way it goes, to keep on producing their drugs. On one hand, I think that the lawsuit would be appropriate if they were putting out misleading information. If they're saying one thing, but a different thing was the actual situation. On the other hand, if it's legal, then it's legal. You can't hold somebody responsible for a thing that was not illegal, that was not improper. I mean, I would be for legislation that reduces the amount of opioids that are able to be on the market from a particular company or in general. I mean, I think there's too many drugs out there, way too many. Some would say, oh, legalize drugs, then all the issues that come with drugs will go away. But it doesn't make any sense because you're still going to have the drugs there. So the issues that come with drugs will still be there. People want to point towards Portugal as a case of legal drugs, but that's a foreign country, small country. We don't live there. Point to places right here in America where legalizing drugs or decriminalizing drugs have actually happened. Let's look at San Francisco, Los Angeles, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon, maybe even to a certain extent, San Diego, Orange County. I mean, people on the streets living in filthy tents, in their own feces, their own bodily fluids. That's not just a guy that got down on his luck. Lost his job as a trucker. He's out here trying to make it, or no, that's not that. That's drugs. People talk about mental illness. Yes, that's part of it as well. But I'm willing to bet you that nearly 100% of people that have mental problems are also on drugs. Drugs are a big time problem. So I'm a big fan of drug prohibition. Yes, I said it. Don't get triggered. However, I'm also a person that abides by the law. I can't hold a person responsible for a thing that's legal. If they did something and it's legal, it's okay, it's proper, then that's what it is. If you want to pass laws to bar a particular thing from happening, then do that. But you can't come up with these luxury tax scenarios where a company is allowed to keep on doing a quote unquote harmful thing as long as they pay you some money. I mean, you still can buy cigarettes right now from the gas station and smoke till your lungs collapse. You know, they paid out billions of dollars and they're still continuing to make money now. So it don't even make a difference. It's just part of their business. It's just an operating expense. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that Big Pharma should have been required to pay this money to Oklahoma? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or do you think they should not be required to pay that money? Will they win their appeal? What will this mean for other big pharma companies going forward into the future, for other states? Will they be required to pay money as some kind of luxury tax? Because that's what it is. If they're allowed to continue doing business the same way they're doing it, it's a luxury tax. It ain't nothing else. Should it be more than that? Should it be less than that? Should we legalize all drugs? Should we criminalize all drugs? What are your particular thoughts on drugs in society and where big pharma comes into play? Also, the illegal drugs that are on the street that are set to mimic big pharma's drugs. Do they all work together? Is there any difference? Whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.